4. Quality Management System, QMS. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 4. Quality Management System, QMS. 5. Management. Responsibility. 7. Product realization. Processes. 6. Resource management. 8. Measurement. Analysis and improvement. ISO 9001 Standard. 1. Scope and application. 2. References. 3. Terms and definitions. There are 4 key elements forming the QMS. Management responsibility. Resource management. Product realization processes. Measurements, analysis, and improvement. Management responsibility is very important for ISO 9001 implementation. Management to provide adequate resource for the establishment, implementation and improvement of the QMS, product realization processes. The major portion of the QMS should cover the product realization processes or the organization's business activities. Measurement and monitoring is required for effective QMS implementation. Many of the procedures in such a QMS will not be followed and are used merely as guidelines if there is no regular monitoring or audit. After the monitoring process, deficiencies are analyzed and improvements are recommended to top management for implementation. Top management will then allocate the resources for the improvements and changes to the QMS, and the cycle continues. For Quality Management System, QMS, Requirements. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. For Quality Management System, QMS, Requirements. Key processes documented. 4.2.3 Control of document. 4.2.4 Control of records. 8.2 Internal audit. 8.3 Control of non-conforming products. 8.5.2 Corrective actions. 8.5.3 Preventive actions. Key business processes, activities. Document control in place. Records properly maintained and retrievable. To cover why various ISO 9001 requirements are present and common deficiencies encountered. External training. ISO 9001 requires 2 full days, can only summarize the key requirements during today's briefing. The basic QMS requirements are to have the processes for key business activities documented. Documented procedures are also under proper document control. Documented procedures have been reviewed and approved by appropriate management staff. Proper versioning and effective implementation date have been established. Records also have to be properly filed and easily retrievable. Key business process activities may include purchasing, training, infrastructure superintendent activities, etc. 5. Management responsibility. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 5. Management responsibility. Commitment to development, implementation and improvement of QMS. Customer focus. Establish quality policy, mission for organization. Quality objectives and planning. Ensure responsibility and authorities are defined. Appoint Mgmt Representative, member of org management, for the implementation and improvement of the QMS. Ensure QMS requirements are communicated. Management review of QMS deficiencies and possible improvements. Top management has many responsibility for effective QMS implementation. Question: who has the ultimate responsibility of the final quality of the delivered product/service? Top management. Answer: middle management. Staff level: everyone. The quality of the final delivered product, service is dependent on the top management direction and emphasis. Quality policy and objectives to be established by top management staff to provide direction to staff. Top management have to ensure roles and responsibility are clearly defined to reduce the level of ambiguity in the required scope of work, although quite difficult in today's complex world. The management representative is accountable for the successful and effective implementation of the QMS. regular management review is required to ensure the suitability and effectiveness of the QMS. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements 6 Resource Management. Provide adequate manpower resources. Staff or personnel are competent and properly trained for assigned duties. Adequate supporting infrastructure and facilities. Work environment does not affect performance. Lighting, noise, temperature, humidity, weather. Resource management is important in the context of ISO 9001 implementation. Staff needs adequate resources to get their work done. For example, it is considered a non-conformance to have a staff who consistently work 20% overtime over a period of more than 6 months, as this is likely to affect the quality of the work done by the staff. Staff or other personnel, temp staff, supplier, etc., also have to be properly trained to perform their assigned tasks. Adequate facilities, equipment and supporting services also have to be provided for the employee. The work environment must also be managed to enable the employee to work productively, effectively, for example furnace inspection, appropriate protective clothing and materials to be provided, safety boots to be provided at warehouse, etc. These requirements will benefit each employee in the organization. 7 Product Realization Processes. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 7 Product Realization Processes. Product realization planning, mainly for projects. Determine product/customer requirements. Post-delivery activities include 1. Actions under warranty provisions, 2. Contractual obligations such as maintenance activities, and 3. Supplementary services such as recycling or final disposal. Channels for customer communication. Design and development processes. Planning, inputs, outputs, review, verification, validation, changes. Purchasing. Production and service operations. Include handling of customer property, include intellectual properties and personal data. Control of measuring and monitoring devices. Documentation of key business processes. Product realization planning are more applicable for one-time projects where customized product requirements and processes are adopted, for example project document, work instruction documents, etc. Post-delivery activities include 1. Actions under warranty provisions, 2. Contractual obligations such as maintenance activities, and 3. Supplementary services such as recycling or final disposal. This new ISO 9001-2008 requirement is meant more for the application teams. Also need to consider recycling or final disposal requirements for procured IT equipment. Channels for customer communications include help desk phone number, fax number, email address, website, etc. Purchasing process will also have to be controlled if it affects the final quality of the delivered product or service. Production and service operations will have to be performed under control conditions, meaning the same production or servicing operations can be repeated with minimal variance. Monitoring and measuring devices also have to be verified to ensure that they are working properly, otherwise they may give us problems, for example pressure gauge at oil refinery not working properly, giving rise to explosion which could otherwise be prevented. 8 Measurement, Analysis, and Improvement. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 8 Measurement, Analysis, and Improvement. Measurement and analysis planning. Measures on customer satisfactions, internal audits and other process/product measures. Control of non-conformity. Analysis of data, determine characteristics or trends. QMS improvements, corrective and preventive actions. Verify effectiveness. Measurement, analysis and improvement is an important part of the QMS implementation. Ensure QMS is suitable and effective for current use. Measurements to be collected and analyzed must be predefined. The statistical technique for analyzing the measures should also be predetermined. It is mandatory to collect and analyze measures on customer satisfaction and internal audits. There must also be mechanism to ensure that non-conforming products are prevented from inadvertent use or delivery, for example through segregation. Appropriate data should be analyzed to determine characteristics or trends of products or processes. QMS improvements, corrective and preventive actions are usually derived from the analysis of data. For QMS requirements, document key processes. ISO 9001-2008 requirements. For QMS requirements, document key processes. 4.1 General QMS requirements. Document sequence/interaction of key processes. Document criteria and methods to ensure effective operation. The type and extent of controls to be applied for outsourced processes shall be defined within the quality management system. 4.2.1 QMS documentation. Quality policy and objectives, quality manual. Control documents such as checklists and work instructions. Required procedures and records. Levels of details depends on competence of staff, size of organization and complexity of processes. 4.2.2 Quality Manual. Scope of QMS, including details of and justifications for any exclusions. One of the key ISO 9001 requirements is ensure that all key business activities are properly documented in terms of sequence, interactions of key processes. A business process is normally documented from start to end. The following should be used to guide the documentation of the business process. WHO perform the activity. When is the activity performed? What record is produced? For important situation, the following areas can be covered. How is the activity performed? Why is the activity performed? Any exclusion to the ISO 9001 implementation must be justified. Partial ISO 9001 certification is discouraged. In the past, partial ISO 9001 certification is allowed through the use of their ISO 9001, 9002 and 9003 standard. This is no longer allowed and most companies do not make use of partial certification anyway. A complete product or service must be certified, partial not allowed. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements 4.2.3 Control of documents. Review and approve document before issue. Changes and current revision status identified. Relevant versions are available at point of use. Documents are legible and identifiable. Documents of external origins are identified and distribution controlled. Document control is important because we need to ensure that staff are following only approved and the correct version of the procedures. Normally a document will need to have a unique title for unique identification, an issue date and/or issue number, page numbering and total page numbering to eliminate possibility of not being aware of missing pages, approval signature/record indicating that the document has been approved for use. Superseded documents must also be indicated as such. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements 4.2.4 Control of records. Are records legible, readily identifiable and retrievable? For example, management review records, training records, purchase evaluation records, audit records, customer complaints and other process-related records. All records should have a title and a date to make it readily identifiable. Filed records should also be indexed to make the records readily retrievable, through use of the file index form. All important records provide evidence that the business processes have been properly carried out should be maintained, for example end products and intermediate end products. Product MKG plans. Quotations. Customers PO. Invoices and delivery notes, etc. 5.1 Management Commitment. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 5.1 Management Commitment. Development, implementation and improvement of QMS. Establish quality policy. Ensure quality objectives are met. Conduct management review of QMS deficiencies, improvements. Ensure availability of resources for QMS implementation and improvements. As emphasized earlier, Top management commitment is very important for effective ISO 9001 implementation. Top management is required to provide evidence of their commitment to the development, implementation and improvement of the QMS through their actions, for example send staff for training, directing staff on relevant corrective/preventive actions, etc. Top management also to establish the quality policy or company mission statement so that staff know their key work objective the moment they step into the company. For example, to continually improve all business processes so as to meet changing requirements and expectations of all internal and external customers. To provide customers with quality and cost-effective solutions, product/service, in a timely manner. Top management should be set quality-related objectives for middle management to achieve, for example based on efficiency and effectiveness measures. Efficiency, amount of work done per unit time. Effectiveness, number of mistakes made per month. Top management should allocate resources to areas that can improve the capability of the organization. It is easy to increase revenues or production level by elimination or long-term measures such as maintenance, R&D, continual improvements. It is more difficult to improve the capability of the organization. ISO 9001 to 2008 Requirements 5.2 Customer Focus. Top management ensure customer requirements are determined and fulfilled. Customer satisfaction is also achieved, enhanced. Being customer-focused is important to the survival of an organization. The customer is the reason which a company exists. Old trend, let the customer beware. Buy the goods at your own risk. Supplier takes no responsibility for poor quality goods produced. Customers have little choices, there are limited suppliers for the same product, service. New trend, let the suppliers beware. Many suppliers can now provide the same products/services. The supplier that provide poor quality products/services have to be careful, it will steadily lose its market share if nothing is done. ISO 9001 to 2008 Requirements 5.3 Quality Policy. Appropriate to purpose of organization, for example mission. Include commitment to meet customer and regulatory requirements. Include commitment for continual improvement and meeting quality objectives. Is communicated to all staff. Is reviewed for continuing suitability. Regulatory requirements is emphasized or given more attention in the new ISO 9001 to 2000 standard. Quality policy must include commitment for continual improvement. Status quo is no longer okay in the new ISO 9001 to 2000 standard. The rest are implied in the old ISO 9001 standard. 5.4 Quality Objectives, QMS Planning. ISO 9001 to 2008 Requirements. 5.4 Quality Objectives, QMS Planning. Quality objectives set at relevant functions and levels. Quality objectives measurable and consistent with quality policy. QMS Planning. Ensure QMS requirements and quality objectives are met. Ensure integrity of QMS is maintained when changes are implemented. Quality objectives now have to be set at all functions and level. High-level objectives no longer eradicate. Objectives should be smart to meet the ISO 9001 requirements. QMS planning refers more on resource and schedule planning for improvement activities. 5.5 Responsibility, authority, and communication. ISO 9001 to 2008 Requirements. 5.5 Responsibility, authority, and communication. Responsibility and authorities for various staff defined. Management representative shall be a member from within organization's management, appointed to ensure QMS is established, implemented and maintained. Report to top management on the performance of the QMS and any need for improvement. Promote awareness of customer requirements throughout the organization. Effectiveness of QMS communicated through established channels. Responsibility and authorities for all staff to be defined. Good to have a job specification for all job designation. Job specification can contain educational, job experience, skill and/or training requirements. Key required work activities. Mgmt Representative is accountable for the successful implementation of the ISO 9001 standard. Member of top management should be appointed for this to improve chances of successful ISO 9001 implementation. Communication channels must be established to highlight quality problems and required follow-up actions. ISO 9001 to 2008 Requirements 5.6 Management Review conducted at planned intervals to ensure continuing suitability, adequacy and effectiveness of the QMS. Review inputs include audit results, customer complaint, customer satisfaction, process performance and product conformity, follow-up actions, changes, improvement to QMS. Review outputs. Improvement of the effective of the QMS and its processes. Improvement of products. Resource needs. Management review is an important process to facilitate continual improvement of the QMS. Many measures, for example customer satisfaction, complaints, audit results, etc., are analyzed to identify required corrective and preventive actions to improve the QMS. The review process will highlight key QMS deficiencies and required corrective and preventive actions. Strengths of QMS are also sometimes highlighted to inform staff to continue to do what we have done well. Resource and schedule plan for improvements should also be made. ISO 9001 to 2008 Requirements 6 Resource Management 6.1 Provision of resources. Determine and provide resources to implement, maintain, improve the QMS and enhance customer satisfaction. 6.2 Human resources. Ensure staff or other personnel are adequately competent and trained for assigned roles. Maintain training records. 6.3 Infrastructure. Determine, provide and maintain infrastructure, include building, workspace, equipment and supporting services, needed to achieve conformity to product requirements. 6.4 Work environment. Determine and manage the work environment, include factors such as noise, lighting, temperature, humidity and weather, needed to achieve conformity to product requirements. 7.1 Planning of product realization. ISO 9001 to 2008 Requirements. 7.1 Planning of product realization. Plan and develop the product realization processes. Determine quality objectives and requirements for product. Establish product-specific processes, documents, resources. Document required verification, validation and criteria for product acceptance. 7.2 Customer-related processes. ISO 9001 to 2008 Requirements. 7.2 Customer-related processes. Determine product requirements. Post-delivery activities include 1. Actions under warranty provisions, 2. Contractual obligations such as maintenance activities and 3. Supplementary services such as recycling or final disposal. Review product requirements. Requirements are defined. Requirements differing from what customer wants are resolved. Organization has ability to fulfill defined requirements. Customer communication. Communication channels available to provide product information, answer queries, taking orders and amendments, customer feedback. 7.3 Design and development. ISO 9001 to 2008 Requirements. 7.3 Design and development. Design and development planning. Update plan as design and development progresses. Design and development review, verification, validation have distinct purposes. They can be conducted and recorded separately or in any combination, as suitable for the product and the organization. Design and development inputs. Functional, performance and regulatory requirements to be documented and reviewed. Design and development outputs. Inform suitable for verification against for design and dev. Inputs. Include details for preservation of products. Design and development review, verification, validation and changes. procedures to be defined. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements 7.4 Purchasing. Evaluate and select suppliers based on their ability to meet purchase requirements. Purchasing information to contain level of adequate purchasing requirements. Verification of purchase products. Key records. Purchase specifications. Supplier evaluation records. Evidence of satisfaction receipt. 7.5 Production and Service Provision. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 7.5 Production and Service Provision. 7.5.1 Control of Production and Service Provision. Plan and carry out production and service provision under controlled conditions, repeatable processes. Ensure availability of work instructions, as necessary. 7.5.2 Validation of processes for production and service provision. Required when resulting output cannot be verified or tested, for example packing of parachutes. Processes, equipment, personnel needs to be qualified. 7.5 Production and Service Provision. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 7.5 Production and Service Provision. 7.5.3 Identification and Traceability. Identify product by suitable means throughout the product realization. Also known as configuration management for some industry sector. 7.5.4 Customer Property. Exercise care of customer property, include intellectual property and personal data. Identify, verify, protect and safeguard customer property. If lost, damaged or otherwise found unsuitable for use, this shall be reported to the customer and records maintained. 7.5 Production and Service Provision. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 7.5 Production and Service Provision. 7.5.5 Preservation of product. Preserve conformity of product during internal processing and delivery to intended destination. Include identification, handling, packaging, storage and protection. 7.6 Monitoring and measuring devices. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 7.6 Monitoring and measuring devices. Measuring devices to be calibrated at specific intervals. Calibration records to be maintained. Equipment ID. Calibration date. Calibration accuracy. Next calibration date. Calibration to be safeguarded from adjustments. For example, seal for taximeter. 8 Measurement, analysis, and improvement. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 8 Measurement, analysis, and improvement. 8.1 Monitoring and measurement planning. Required to demonstrate product conformity, conformity to QMS and continually improve the QMS. 8.2 Monitoring and measurements. 8.2.1 Methods for obtaining measures on customer satisfaction shall be determined, which may be derived from customer satisfaction survey, customer data, user opinion, lost business analysis, compliments, warranty claims, dealer reports. 8 Measurement, analysis, and improvement. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 8 Measurement, analysis, and improvement. 8.2.2 Internal audit. Conducted at planned interval to determine if QMS requirements have been implemented. Audit program to be planned. Audit criteria, scope and methods shall be defined. Auditors shall not audit their own work. Audit results and follow-up actions to be recorded. 8 Measurement, analysis, and improvement. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 8 Measurement, analysis, and improvement. 8.2.3 Monitoring and measurement of processes. To monitor QMS processes, to verify conformity to product requirements and the effectiveness of the quality management systems. 8.2.4 Monitoring and measurement of product. To monitor characteristics of product to verify if the product requirements have been met. 8.3 Control of non-conforming product. Ensure that product which does not conform to product requirements is identified and prevented from unintended use or delivery. For example, segregation of non-conforming products. 8. Measurement, analysis, and improvement. ISO 9001-2008 Requirements. 8. Measurement, analysis, and improvement. 8.4 Analysis of data. Determine, collect and analyze appropriate data to demonstrate suitability and effectiveness of the QMS. Evaluate where continual improvement can be made through trend analysis. 8.5.1 Continual improvement. Continually improve the QMS through quality policy, objectives, audit results, analysis of data, corrective, preventive actions and management review.